Hello, this video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon and my members on YouTube. Minasan, arigatou gozaimasu. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily good life meditation. It's an exercise that I do every day, a little bit after waking up. It's now 5:10 a.m. on February 3rd, 2024, day 316 in my countdown to retirement, day 87 for my wife. Wow, she's in double digits now. I do this exercise to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can get a copy of from the link down in the description. I also use the time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the various challenges and opportunities that I met. I plan for the coming day, and I prepare myself to die. But before I do any of those things, I always like to have a nice poetry read. We're going to try again for Walt Whitman's poem here that I tackled yesterday unsuccessfully, titled Song for All Seas, All Ships. There was one new word in there that I didn't know, right here. It's recitative. I had no idea what this word meant. So I had to look it up, and it's a very interesting word. It's the it's a form of speech when singing, when you go into more narrative mode. So imagine instead of going with a la, 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 but instead just kind of doing more spoken word during the song, that's a recitative, is the effort to, where the effort is more on communication, the message, than the tone and the sound so much. So it's like an aside, almost like rapping in a way, but not quite, because rap has that tone as well, but like a little speech in a song. So this is very interesting. Whitman seems to be describing this poem as a recitative, to be spoken word rather than anything else, or maybe an aside from the music of life. Let's give it a try. It's a tricky poem. I didn't understand it yesterday when I read it. Let's try it again. Just a second here. Song for all seas, all ships. Today a rude, brief recitative of ships sailing the seas, each with its special flag or ship signal, of unnamed heroes in the ships, of waves spreading and spreading far as the eye can reach, of dashing spray and the wind piping and blowing, and out of these a chant for the sailors of all nations, fitful like a surge, of sea captains young or old, and the mates, and all intrepid sailors, of the few, very choice, taciturn, whom fate can never surprise, nor death dismay, picked sparingly without noise by thee, old ocean, chosen by thee. Thou sea that pickest and cullest the race in time, and unitest nations, suckled by thee, old husky nurse, embodying thee, indomitable, untamed as thee. Ever the heroes on water or on land, by ones or twos appearing, ever the stock preserved and never lost, though rare enough for seed preserved. Flaunt out, O sea, your separate flags of nations, flaunt out visible as ever the various ship signals. But do you reserve especially for yourself and for the soul of man one flag above all the rest? A spiritual woven signal for all nations, emblem of man elate above death, token of all brave captains and all intrepid sailors and mates, and all that went down doing their duty, reminiscent of them, twined from all intrepid captains, young or old, a pennant universal, subtly waving all time over all brave sailors, all seas, all ships. I get it more than I did yesterday. Talking of the sailing class, the men, in this case, who go to the sea, all about them, and then something greater than them, the universal spirit of sailors. At least that's what I got out of it. Whitman isn't my favorite. I keep sticking with him because I'm hoping he'll touch me in some way, but so far it just hasn't happened. It's worth keep on trying though for a little longer. All right, let's move on now to last night and yesterday. Busy day yesterday. Take a look at that checklist. On the work side, I finished just about everything. I didn't do the DDDM workflow or I was going to call out 2 training videos to build. I'll do those on Monday when I'm at the office, working from the office on Monday. Personal side, I got just about everything done. Now it looks like, wow, you spent your whole day doing your personal stuff. No, all of these things get done in the time between my work. So before work, during my breaks, at lunch, and after work. So these items here with the arrows, I didn't get to well, I did some of them. Got the scratch means I did some work, but I need to do more today. They get promoted to today. This one right here, the dogs, I didn't do any work. I got to get the dogs ready for Japan. I didn't do any work on that, so I'll work on that today. Otherwise, as for my handling of the day, it was a good day. Nothing really ambushed me. I didn't really get challenged to manage my emotions or my thoughts and necessarily my reactions in any way. There was a strange moment. We were walking the dog in the evening. A young man kind of approached us, kind of strange. I wondered if he was up to something. He actually said something to me. I can't remember what it was, but it was strange. Huntington Beach has people like that, as most cities do. But for some reason, they seem to engage me lately. Nothing happened. I kept my demeanor. I saw him coming, saw the kind of strange look in his eyes, and readied myself for adult calm, yet well-positioned response. By that meaning, being ready for action if necessary. I don't know what the hell that means. Ready for action. Like I don't mean fighting, but ready to engage with someone in a reasonable way. Okay, like that man. There was a man about 2 months ago. Similar circumstance. I was walking not far away from that same street. Maybe I should stay out of that neighborhood. And he was in a car, and I noticed him in the car. And I kind of, as we were walking past, it was kind of dark. I kind of peered in just a little bit because I thought, is there a person in the car? Because there's usually never there. It's just, what? And he thought I was staring at him. The door opened, around he came, and he came over to confront me. What are you staring at, man? And, he was strange. And I let him know very clearly, oh, I'm sorry, I was trying to see, I couldn't discern if there was someone in the car. I didn't mean to stare, and I do apologize if I was prying into your privacy. He kind of took a step forward, and then he took a step back and got back in the car. Now, a little further down the road, I noticed that the car was moving. I kept my eye on it. He spun around. I thought, crap, he's coming back. So my wife was with me and the 2 dogs, so I positioned us, got us. It was amazing how the timing works. It just got us right to a corner of a busy street. So if something happened, I wanted to be in a position where there were people around. And and actually it's not far from the police station, so cops are often going by on that road. He came by, he drove past, and went on his way. But I wonder if he had second thoughts, because I think he was looking for a fight. That's what I mean by well-positioned, right? So readying the mind to react in a reasonable, mature, yet in control manner, thoughtful to what's happening around me, etc. You get the point, right? That incident that I mentioned before from a couple months back, that was an example of a good emotional reaction, a good thinking reaction, if I do say so myself, where in the moment I didn't clearly the man, there's something a little bit odd if he's stepping out of a car to challenge someone on the street like that. So best not to engage with that. Apologized, which I really did mean to say. I didn't mean to pry in his business. And who knows what he was doing in that car. And then prepared for further response if necessary. The same thing happened yesterday with that other guy. I saw him coming, saw the strange look in his life, and I readied my mind accordingly. One of the Good Life in my book, the objectives of the good life is to have good emotional reactions, to be ready to respond in the aforementioned reasonable manner, in control, ready for action as needed. So that was the only thing that, I guess I did have something that challenged me in a way. Otherwise, it was a fun day. Yumiko and I more and more were enjoying the thoughts of what our freedom is going to be like coming up. Keep waiting for the other shoe to fall, right? You know, the doctor telling me, Kurt, you've got an incurable disease. You can't, it feels in a way, a strange way, it feels like you can't. It feels like a sin to enjoy the boon days of life. The boon days sounds like boondocks. It seems like a shame to relish in a nice sunny day. Like if you speak it out loud, wow, it's a beautiful sunny day. Suddenly you hear the thunderclap of a storm cloud coming. Likewise, Yumiko and I have worked hard all our friggin' life, and we're at the point now that it's our turn. I keep saying it's like riding a roller coaster. Like I talked to my friend Andrew. He and Chie, his wife, are in the exact same position this year with us. He and Chie are retiring. They're moving to Japan as well. They'll be moving down to the Fukuoka area. Hey, Andrew, if you see this as well. And he and I share our stories and our thoughts a little bit. And even between us, we're hesitant to front load the retirement life with pleasure, because it feels like you're jinxing yourself, right? Like something bad's going to happen. But the image that I have is like the last 40 years of hard work has been like waiting in a long line at a roller coaster at an amusement park for the best roller coaster in the park. You really want to ride that roller coaster, but there's a long line, and you got to wait your turn. And you wait, and you wait, and you wait. And then suddenly, there it is, the roller coaster's right there. It's your turn to ride. And it's our turn to ride. Andrew, Chie, Yumiko, me, it's our turn to ride the roller coaster. We're 60 now. And we're heading into that decade, that 60 to 70 decade, which is should be a very sweet spot in life. Now, of course, life doesn't always pan out the way we'd like, but it should be a very sweet spot in life as long as our health holds up. It's our decade of freedom, and our decade of the kids are raised. Our bills are paid, mostly, etc. You get the idea. And we get to ride on the roller coaster. Now, the thing to consider, though, and if those of you who are younger, anybody that might see this who's younger, you're like, no fair, zoodooey, right? Why do you get to ride on the roller coaster? Just remember, by the time you get to ride on the roller coaster, it's my time to get off. Got to make way for you. Getting off the roller coaster means you're dead. So, and during the years that I was waiting for my turn on the roller coaster, the people that got on the roller coaster ahead of me, they're dying now themselves. So, getting on the roller coaster doesn't mean you get to. It's not like a permanent funhouse ride. It's for a brief time. I mean, in all the apparatuses of society, for whatever type of a social security scheme your country has, it's all. And my counselor at work, I have a pension as well. The pension counselor told me 3 times when I went to interview. 3 times he told me this. I'm just an aside. My company has a really good pension scheme, so in addition to Social Security, there's that, and that's why I get to retire at 60, because I can execute that scheme sooner. 62 is the starting age for Social Security, so the first couple of years will be a little tight until we get to Social Security. Anyway, I made an interview. When you close in on the last year of work, you make an interview. You go to the HR. In a retirement counselor, they do a great job. They assign somebody, in this case it was a guy named Mike. Mike was my representative, my caseworker. Mike studies, we make an appointment, Mike studies up all about my work history, my contributions into the system. This is not Social Security, this is the other system. And then we have a one-on-one. I come in and we go into the office one-on-one. Mike knows all about me, and he asks me the best questions. How do you plan to live after you retire? Where do you plan to live? Tell me about your expenses. Tell me about all this stuff, Kurt. He wanted to know because he wants to help me to make sure I'm making the right decision, because he knows how much I'm going to get in the pension. And depending on, like, what if I've still got a big heavy mortgage to carry, or what if I've still got kids in college, right? Well, maybe it's not time for you to retire, and they'll dissuade you away from that, not in order to keep you on the employment roster, but to make sure you don't find yourself in a post-work situation that is not tenable to your life requirements. Anyway, he gave me the good clear. He's like, "You're good to go, Kurt." So, yay. um, but he told me 3 separate times. That was the point I was making. 3 separate times he says, "Kurt, this," because I was like, you don't talk about this too much stuff. I do. I make these damn videos, right? But he says, we don't talk about this other stuff. And he says, Kurt, keep in mind, this system only works because we're counting on you to die on time. You need to die on time so we can stop paying you and start paying the next person. That's where the roller coaster image came up, right? It's like a crap. It's like a damn roller coaster, right? I get to get woo, 2.5 minutes around. Okay, time to get off, get in the grave, get in the box, get in the grave, get in the inferno, and get in the urn, and scatter you around the desert or wherever the hell. It's somebody else. Get on it. Get on the roller coaster. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Watch out for that ending. So that's one of the reasons also that Yumiko and I decided to not wait till 62 because we could put in another 2 years at I call it it's a trope, the coal face. We could put in another 2 years slaving away at the coal face. But that's 2 years we could be down the damn roller coaster. I don't want to friggin' slaving away at another friggin' 2 years like this. It's been miserable. I'm sorry if my employer sees this. It's not your fault. But I hated work my whole life. 40 friggin' years of miserable days going to the office, doing things I hate. I don't want to do any more of that. And it was for good ends, right? I mean, I delivered good ends, right? I mean, I raised a family, I supported a household, I helped others, I contributed my fair share of taxes, always honestly, and that's the way this all worked out, right? I mean, if I'd been hiding the money, then there wouldn't be the gain now. I don't want to do that anymore. I want freedom. Of course, that's a whole other topic. Watch out what you ask for. I may not know what the hell to do with my freedom, but Japan will help with that. Japan's got lots to do. I told Yumiko that yesterday. I said, even if we can't travel a lot initially because we've got 2 little dogs, I said we're going to be eating well. So lots of good restaurants to go to. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Lots of good desserts too. Plus, the place we're going to live has lots of interest. It's a good place, and we're going to have a lovely garden and a fine old house. Anyway, I've gone on and on and on about this, so you get the point. It was a good day yesterday, full of these thoughts, and the thoughts are changing their color, and this may be something to consider if you're younger and closing in on this age. That last year before, like I said, Yumiko and I I'm 317 days. It's under a year from retirement. Yumiko was 57 days. When it was over 365. That was kind of, hand-wringing time. It's still hand-wringing time, but a different type of hand-wringing time. It's a more resolved hand-wringing time. Before it was 365, before it was a year out, I was like, are we really making the right decision? Should we really maybe postpone another year just to make sure everything is good, because we could pay down a little more debt? Because we saddled ourselves with debt for our daughter's college. We didn't save enough for her university, so Yumiko and I have a good chunk of debt to pay down. I'll be able to pay a lot of it down. And we do have retirement savings, and we could use that to pay it off all at once. But we want to use that to buy the house. So anyway, you see the thoughts, right? That's what it's like for almost all the time. It was like this darker kind of negative tinge, and now it's kind of a positive hand wing. It's like getting close to, you see the roller coaster, like, ooh, this is going to be fun. It looks kind of scary, but it's going to be kind of fun. Ooh, it shifts. We're in that now, and that's fun, and I'll leave it at that. ride the roller coaster. Bear with me just a second. All right, as for the good life, let's do the good life. The Good Life Creed is the Good Life is a chapter within my book, Going Alone, and it expounds on 8 objectives and 35 principles that I outline in the book that I use personally to tune my life. I reflect upon them every day. That's what that's what this video is all about. Typically, I started doing this video years and years ago. Where I started doing it as an exercise, not as a video, just something in the morning to go over the objectives and principles so that I could keep them in my mind. I wanted them to be like tools hanging from a tool belt at the ready at any moment. So I knew that if I kept them current in my mind, if I thought about them every day, that could be the case. So what I do then is every morning, the core of this exercise is to at least recite each one of them, all 8 objectives and all 35 principles. I typically pull one off the shelf, so to speak, and I examine it in a little more detail. And then I'll put it back on the shelf. And then tomorrow I'll pull the next one off. And I cycle around. So it takes me about a month and a half to do a full circuit of all 43 items in the creed. Today I'm going to pull off the one called the risk of avoiding risk, which is strategically placed, that is, just after 2 preceding principles. These are in the principle area. These are the principle of the path of wildness, which is the courage, resolve, and effort and decisiveness to step into and towards a new life, to break out of the current circumstance and status quo towards a new life. It's a tricky thing to do. Then followed by the great life adventure, which is the consequence of stepping off the path and embarking in a new life, heading off to live in a new foreign country, or to start a new career, or just to do whatever it takes to really live a new life. That becomes a great life adventure. The third one, this is the one I'll focus on today, is the risk of avoiding risk. Let's do it. The risk of avoiding risk suggests that there is something to be considered about trying to be too safe. Now, I'm a project manager by profession. One of the things that I do as a project manager is identify risk. And when I see an item of risk in my project, I collect the facts related to that risk. I then prepare option scenario. To address the risk. Now, there's typically a couple of ways to handle a risk as a project manager, 3 or 4. There you can mitigate the risk, do something about it. You could avoid the risk, go around it. You could accept the risk and say, well, if that happens, it happens. Or you can, this is the one that a lot of project managers sometimes forget about, is that you can capitalize on the risk, find a way to turn it to your advantage, right? One of the things you can do that I think was the second one, is to avoid the risk, is to go around it somehow, is that you may miss some opportunity. Sometimes in life, less than projects, actually engaging in the activity of managing a risk, or actually encountering the risk, accepting the risk, so mitigation or acceptance, or especially capitalizing on it, embracing the risk, can yield something very wonderful, especially in life, more than projects. That is the experience of an adventure, even if it's a challenging or a painful adventure. And also the embellishment of a great life story, more to add to the story of your life, an additional scar on your cheek to tell stories about at the cocktail. I got this one surfing the big waves in Tahiti. I didn't avoid the risk there, whatever the heck that is. Though, there's an opposite consequence. This is the point of the principle. The risk of avoiding risk. We all understand that engaging in a risk can yield stories and examples and experiences and even wealth and friendships and all kinds of stuff. But avoiding a risk, we don't always think about what the consequence of that is. The consequence of that can basically be the fact that you missed the opportunity of all the life that you could have lived if you had engaged upon the risk, even if it might have killed you. I know so many people, by virtue of my activities as a YouTube content creator and as softypapa in Japan, particularly when I was in Japan and doing all my adventures, people who would write to me and say, I want to come to Japan and I want to experience things and hike and travel and swim in rivers like you do, Kurt, and all those various things. And I would wait for the inevitable but, my family won't understand, but I really need to start my career, but I'm afraid, but it costs too much, but I don't know anybody over there, I can't speak Japanese, I don't know what I would do, I'm scared. And so they don't. And the years pass, and they become old. And then maybe they can do it later in life, but their youth is gone. The opportunity is no more. They can come over when they're old, but it won't be the same. The risk of avoiding risk means that the story, that particular story that you might have engaged with and enjoyed and made your own, is now past, and there's no chance of it anymore. The risk of avoiding risk is the risk of losing a great life adventure for fear of the unknown. Right, let's do the rest of the objectives and principles. The 8 objectives from the book, again, in the chapter titled The Good Life, are to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, that's what I'm doing now, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize true limits and true opportunities, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly, deliberately, carefully, and to keep my balance. The 35 principles, I'll do those in rapid order. Let's see if I can get all 35 of them. Got to find the right page. Here it is. Without stumbling. War, reason, homunculus, anchorhold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, nature, pirate ride, maturity, social principle, family, public speaking, temperance. Life will not go well. The horror show, that which must be born, the feast of woeful, distraction, agency, and the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the season of philosophy, script writing, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough, the principle of fun, and being prepared. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, got them all. Stumbled a couple times, but got them all. After that, I have a lot to do today. Now, I do have a work column today. I'm not going to do any work today. I'm just going to keep those there and promote those through the weekend until I have them ready for me on Monday. A lot to do on the personal side. Oh, I forgot 2 items. I need to clean house today. I need to go shopping with Yumiko. So that's 15 items on the list. I'm already 2 in. Get started on the rest as soon as I'm done with this and feed the dogs and myself. The last thing I do in this exercise is to prepare myself for death. To be ready for death, I need to satisfy the following 3 questions. 1, are my affairs in order? What that means simply is, are my papers in order? Are my accounts in order? Is everything ready to go? So if I keel over today, right now, aneurysm, heart attack, whatever the case may be, will my wife and daughter be all right? And they will, because right over there in the closet, there are 2 cases full of files, very carefully organized. And on the one, there's the financial files and the personal files with passports, all that kind of stuff. The financial one's the key one, because it's got all of our banking information. And up at the top, I put a little letter in there. It says, read me. And so if I die, and Yumiko knows it's there, Emily and Yumiko know, they go in there, open that up, and there's a note in there, and it explains to them everything that they need to know about how our finances are structured. And there's another letter, another document in there that has all of our passwords. It's great, I'm telling you all this, right? It's right over there. You can go dig it up. It's got all of our passwords in it, all the accounts. I've also made sure that all the accounts are set up jointly, so Yumiko has access to them. And very importantly, I made sure that my pension is set up so that if I die, Yumiko gets 100% of my pension benefits for the rest of her life. So she's all set. Yumiko's in good shape. Emily's in good shape by virtue of the fact that we gave her a damn university degree. Off you go. She's got a good job on accepted, so she starts it in a couple of months. So off you go. You're good. So yeah, the affairs are in order. Second question, are my relationships sound? Is there anybody that I've got any unfinished business with? Well, I mean, my mom, of course, has been a perennial issue all my life since I was a kid. She doesn't like me very much and doesn't really want to have a relationship with me, but there's not much I can do about that. So, except just continue to reach out to her. And I called her last month and she hung the phone up on me when she heard my voice. So, at least I made an effort, right? So, yeah, I can answer yes to that one. My relationships are as sound as I possibly can make them. I can't fix this thing with my mom, which has been a strange way for all my whole life. I don't know why. Don't know what it is. She's got the same problem with my brother too, and my dad. I don't know. She just doesn't like us. But everybody else is good. So yeah, relationships are as sound as they possibly can be. 3 is my life's work complete? Yeah. My life's mission were 2 things: be a good husband and father, raise my daughter to maturity, and write my story. And my daughter's raised, educated, and employed. So done. And she's a good woman with a good heart. And then my book is written, my story is done, every jot and tittle is in place. Yeah, I'm done. If I die now, that's fine. So yeah, I'm ready to die. And you bring it on. I like to say, well, I don't want to die. I want to enjoy a good roller coaster ride for a while. But like I like to say, I'm ready to fall backwards into death without a single backwards glance. And with that, I'll finish. And I'll wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care. I will move forward and up. I will rarely stop, and I will never